I would like to acknowledge all Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander peoples, past, present and emerging, as I am recording on Wurundjeri country. Thank you for joining us.
Marmalade and coffee black. Lesson plans are on the stack. Ready for the students' track. Gonna find our groove.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Stranger in the Staff Room, where myself, Zoe Zammit, a first-time teacher, shares lifelong stories. I am beyond excited to reach out to a couple of my friends and friends of friends and acquaintances and potential colleagues and things like that to potentially come onto the show. So even if you're listening and you have never spoken to me in your life but you work with children, please feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at Stranger in the Staff Room. I would love to set up some interviews from here on in because I have gotten such positive reviews from people I know, to people I don't know, to people I might know. I'm really bad with memory. I've gotten such good reviews. You're all seeming to love the show and loving how natural it feels, which is amazing because I was a bit scared that I was putting it on a bit too much. But yeah, awesome, because I am natural. I'm just a brighter natural self because I am tired. Oh my God. My brain is liquid, and it's gotten to the point where I've told my students, listen, can you please complete these questions while Ms. Zammit sets up the rest of your activity because her brain is liquid. Okay? Okay. Like, it's just gotten to the point where the mask is not on anymore. So yeah, that's where we're at. Another piece of constructive feedback I got was the volume changes in the final cut. I totally see them. I am here for them. I understand, and thank you so much for bringing that up with me. I am in the process of buying a mic cover. So just in case people are looking into the podcast world themselves, I am literally recording on a Razer Siren Mini, which is made for beginner streamers, for video games and things. So yeah, you do not need the $2,000 microphone to start. But in saying that, I am getting a microphone cover for it, so then there's less popping in my P's and my B's. Yeah, you would have copped a lot of popping then. So apologies. Yeah, so hopefully in future episodes there'll be less of that and a bit more consistency. But for now, I really thank you for your patience. And yeah. So I finished placement early today. Well, earlier. We left at about 4. Which also, I'm so devastated. This is my last full week. Then we've got school holidays, which I'm kind of relieved we have because I am feeling the burnout like a especially because I am working weekends as well, because unfortunately I don't come under the people that get placement paid for them because I'm in my last year, and I'm pretty sure that that was just for first year teachers onwards as of 2024. So big sad face, big sad crying, screaming face. So I have been working 7 days a week for the past 6 weeks, give or take maybe one of those weeks. Yeah, so it has been intense. So I'm feeling the burnout really badly. So these holidays will be so refreshing. And then I have 3 days of week 1 of term 4, and then I am done, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. And then I go back to the school on the, I think, 25th of Jan. Yeah, so it's all becoming real. It's all becoming real. It's going to be so heartbreaking to leave. I love it there so much. But anyway, finished early today. I went and got my nails done with my best friend. I will pop a photo on my Stranger in the Staff Room Instagram page. So if you just look up Stranger in the Staff Room or SITSR, SITSR, the podcast page should come up, and I will have a photo of my pretty nails all up there. So I went and got them done, and to describe them, they are purple, pink, and with pink, white, and purple polka dots. And I showed my friend the design, and she's like, oh my God, that's so teacher. And I'm like, what? And even before, I showed my boyfriend, and he's like, yeah, they're giving a lot of teacher. And I'm like, how are nails teacher nails? Because now I look at them, and I'm like, yeah, they're teacher nails. Like, I get what they're saying, but I shouldn't. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's so weird. And then I was laughing because my best friend is her style is a lot more edgy than mine. So she has like these silver and black and cream details in her nails, and they're like real edgy and like cool and like look out, she's bad. And mine's like, I'm just happy to be here. You know that TikTok that it's like, dug the bullets out of the Iraqi skull, and then it's like, today I saw a balloon. That is our personalities. So yeah, that was really, really fun. So I've taken some time for myself to get my nails done. Hopefully you can get a coffee, get a hot chocolate, get whatever you do so please. Maybe you're in the bath. Do something for you while you're listening to this podcast. When we come back, I am going to talk about the funny things that I've noted down that my kids have said from placement. It is obviously going to have a better title after the break once I think about it. So yeah. Stick around. We'll talk soon.
Through the highs and through the lows, we're the ones who always show, building worlds and making glow the dreams that they pursue.
And we're back. Thank you everybody for sticking around with us. I am Zoe Zammit, or as the kiddos call me, Miss Zammit, and this is Stranger in the Staff Room, where myself, a first-time teacher, tells lifelong stories, including the stupid my kids say to me. I say that as endearing. I think it's the funniest thing ever. I said to my mentor teacher that high school students, in terms of their humour, is exactly like primary school kids, except they know how to turn take. Let that sink in. And also, I love teaching high school kids because they have the capacity to know what is right and wrong to say, but they don't have the capacity to not say it. You can see them trying to stop themselves from saying things, and then it just leaves their mouth like a waterfall. Like, that's the only way to describe it. So let's get into it. Funny things my students have said. Miss, she's bullying me on Are You OK Day, and quite frankly, I am not okay. Meanwhile, this girl dishes it out to her friends, and it is the funniest thing ever. So in one of our classes, we were discussing Freud's psychosexual theory. Ew. It's basically all women have penis envy and like all men want to have sex with their mums. It's really gross. Anyway, so I was explaining the different stages to the kids, and I said the latent stage happens in adolescence, so in teenage years, and it means that sex is on the brain. The 5'3" male in the class with the bowl cut yells, "Yeah, yeah!" I had one kid say to me, "Do you ever eat an apple and it gives you like wet burps?" That is just a taste of what keeps me going as a teacher. When I hit those brick walls where I'm in a slump, the kids will say something absolutely hilarious and it picks me back up. So if you enjoyed those and you work with children, I am going to pop up a Google forum on my Linktree, on my Instagram. So Stranger in the Staff Room, like I said before. I'm going to pop a Google forum up there, and you can send me your horror stories, funny stories, happy stories, anything that you want to share, get off your chest about working with kids. I would love to hear it, as long as you keep names and schools and things like that anonymous or pseudonyms, so different names. I am happy. Alrighty, now that I've got my funnies out of the way, I am going to talk about my triumphs and triumphs from last episode to now, which is about a month, which also my goal was to hit 50 followers before I posted the first episode. You guys blitzed that, and now I'm recording this on 58 followers. I only posted the podcast like 2 days ago. So you guys have been super supportive, and I am just like running on this adrenaline, which is why I am recording this episode at 20 past 10 at night. Anyway, so triumphs. I'm leaving the school soon. I have to go back to uni. Like, don't get me wrong, I am beyond obsessed with my uni friends. Like, I love them all to death. And I think I'm very lucky in the space I'm in at the uni that I'm at. Like, a lot of people go to university and feel like they can't find their group. I definitely have my group at uni, and I'm beyond obsessed with them. But uni doesn't give me money. Uni gives me assessments, and it's gross. So the sooner I can put that gown and cap on, get that piece of paper, or technically 2 because I've got a double degree, 2 pieces of paper, and then I can go and make cash moolah, that would be amazeballs. The second one is personality clashes with students. Now, there's a lesson that I've learnt like literally within the past 7 days about teaching, and it's that those really close relationships you have with students and those really positive ones, they're a byproduct of teaching. So I got into teaching almost expecting like that was going to happen every single day, or at least every single student that I have, and it's not always the case. At the end of the day, these kids are all individuals, and especially with high school, they are forming their own identities, and that means that you're going to have clashes with these kids. And it does not mean that I don't love these kids. Like, do not get me wrong. This kid that I'm talking about specifically, I have seen such an improvement in her. Like, I'm jumping up and down, screaming on the inside. I even was on the outside, like cheerleader style. You can talk to my mentor teacher if you know who she is to confirm that. She's very down on herself. She's very pessimistic. And although I'm not the most positive person in the room, I'm not the most negative person in the room. So that clashed. So for example, this student that I had, her first assessment, she's diagnosed with dyslexia. Her first assessment, she failed. The second assessment I taught her through, and she and the rest of the students had accompanied notes in the class. So they were able to take a page of notes, and she passed like comfortably. She passed comfortably, and it was amazing, like amazing. And I was just like shocked at like how many marks she was hitting. Like, you know, like it was just nothing that I saw in that first assessment. And I almost had this predisposition or premonition, or it's 10 p.m. guys. I have not got the words. My brain is liquid. # my brain is liquid. But I sort of had this preconceived idea. There we go. We got there in the end. I got a preconceived idea that she would get back her mark and she would be just as rapt as I was. She gets back her mark. I give everyone's assessment back to each kid. And straight away she's like, "Miss, why did I lose a mark for this?" I said, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "I should have got full marks for this." And I'm like, what? Like I was taken aback a little bit. I was like, the first thing you're looking at is where you missed your marks? And so it was on her note taking, and her notes were really good, but she had to give me a bit more detail in them for me to give her full marks, right? I only took a mark off. So I said, this is why. And she was so like annoyed and irritated by it. I shifted out of Miss Zammit for a moment, and Zoe came in. And she said, "Love, you have gone from X to Y. I think I would be looking at the positives if I were you, instead of digging up the negatives." And I just walked away. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with the fact that this kid couldn't see how well she did. And I almost took it as a bit of a personal attack. But I think something that I took away from this is that it's the kid that's done the work. You're the one that's just checking over it to see whether it hits the marks you're given, like your marking scheme. So really, I shouldn't have taken that as a personal attack because it's their work. I'm just moderating it. So, but I also forgive myself for taking that as a personal attack. And I spoke to my mentor teacher about it afterwards and debriefed a little bit because I'm one of those people that needs to debrief, otherwise they will implode. So the first chance I got, I did. And I've had a couple of personality clashes like this with other kids. And it's a similar mindset, like just too much pressure on themselves, but taking it out on other people. And yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of that. But yeah, you got to remember these are kids at the end of the day. So the byproduct is the close relationships. My last triumph is kids being absent on assessment days. Oh my God. So I'm doing my GTPA. That is why I'm doing this final placement. So for anyone who isn't aware, your GTPA is your, I think it's General Teaching Practice Assessment. I've probably butchered that. But basically, you pick a class out of your placement, you pick 3 focus students out of them, and then you collect data on the whole class and those 3 focus students to show how effective you were as a teacher and what you'd improve when you no longer have a mentor teacher. So I've got my 3 focus students and everything's going well. I checked their attendance, like thus far, and it's been really good. So you have to give them a baseline assessment, a formative assessment, and a summative assessment as a part of this assessment. That's a lot of assessments. As a part of the GTPA, I should say. So they already had a formative and a baseline, but between their formative, there wasn't a summative until when I was gone. So I needed to make a summative of my own, and I told the kids, look, I'm going to give you guys a test. It'll be under exam conditions for 50 minutes. It's based on everything you've learnt on personality so far. You know, take it easy on yourselves though. You're allowed your notes. It's just for me to show my uni how well you guys are doing. And one of my focus students was away. And he got ratted out by one of his friends. Snitches get stitches. He was like, yeah, he's not here because of the test. And I'm like, that's fine. I've emailed his mum. Like, that's it. But on the inside, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do if this kid doesn't do it? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? My assessment is over. Everything's over. I'm going to die. But I'm trying to keep positive about it and making a talking point about it. Yeah, it's rough. So hopefully tomorrow I get something sent in because I'm assuming this kid, you know, you got to give the benefit of the doubt. I'm assuming he's actually sick, so hopefully by the end of tomorrow he's got something done. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a run around. But we digress. Now we are on to the triumphs. So my first one is that the kids are excited that I'll be back next year. I had these visions in my head that I'd be like, don't worry guys, I'm back next year. And they just look at me like, okay, lol. But some of the kids were actually really excited and they were asking, what do I teach? Could I teach this? Am I teaching this? When will I know? Da-da-da-da. And I think that's really cute. And I think that shows the impact I've had on the kids. Yeah, it's so exciting. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to know for a long time now. But don't worry, the podcast will be one of the first people to know. The second one was being creative in my lessons actually worked. Like, what? So, to give context, I've done 2 things since the previous episode and now that I was like, I'm not sure if this is going to work. And it did. So, the first one was a bit of a role play activity. So, I was teaching some of my kids about person-centered therapy. And so I got them to partner up and I had scenarios in a little Ziploc bag folded up and they had to pick a scenario and one kid was going to be the therapist, the other was going to be the client for about 5 minutes and then they swap over and then they would write a little reflection on it. Because this class is in the younger year levels that I teach and because of some of the students that I know, I was waiting for this to go belly up. I was waiting for this to just be me going, stop that, don't do that, why are you doing that, that's it, we're going to write lines, ba 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 ba. Oh my God, these kids did amazing. Like, they were showing the correct body language. They were nodding. They were showing empathy. It was really cute. And like, I sort of like was able to tell once it became regular chit chat, and then I got them to swap, and it was the same thing. And I'm looking at my mentor teacher like, this is working. What do you mean this wasn't meant to work? So do it. Honestly, if you're thinking of doing something wild in your classes, obviously within reason, do it. The second one was bingo. It was like a Jeopardy bingo mix. So I have been teaching the VCE site kids about memory and different types of memory and what's involved in them and things like that. So I created these online bingo cards, which if you literally look up bingo card generator, it's like one of the first ones, and you can get 30 individual cards for free, and either printable or with a link. And we used the link, and it was incredible. All the kids were straight onto it. So I would give the components of the different types of memory, and then I would name the big umbrella term for it. So for example, if I said your topic is short-term memory, they were able to cross off things like 20 seconds, plus or minus 7 plus or minus 2 items, rehearsal, things like that. And yeah, they loved it. So we did a couple of rounds with notes and a couple of rounds without notes, and they were obsessed with it. And especially because it's the last week of term, I think they really liked the gamified learning. And especially just between you and me, that was so last minute. So that was amazing. So my final triumph is that I'm feeling confident to share my thoughts in team meetings. I have this tendency to make myself feel small in groups. I, believe it or not, get very socially anxious, which is probably why I'm doing a podcast and not like talking to people face to face, because ew, gross, disgusting. So I've been in a couple of psych team meetings and faculty meetings and things like that. And I've sort of just kept quiet and observed, which is very hard for me to do because I have a loud mouth. But I finally feel like I'm at the school long enough to say, well, here's what I think of this. And if I were to improve this from an outside point of view, I would do this. And not even because I've been at the school for long enough, just using my high school experience, because, you know, I'm younger than these people. Like 22 is the youngest you can be a teacher, and I'm turning 22 this year. So I feel like I can add my input. And I feel like it's taken on board. Like, even if they say, oh, we tried to do this last year, but then blah, blah, blah. Like, they still listen and care. Like, there's a way to reject an idea in a way that isn't rejection. And, I've just had a bit of a self-realization. Okay, so context, everybody. I used to deal really badly with criticism, which you have to get over really quick when you're teaching, because you're going to get so many people coaching you and giving you feedback, which is great. But I used to have a really hard time about it. Literally, the words, "I think you can change," would make me on the verge of tears. It was really bad. And me just saying there's a way of rejecting someone without making them feel small makes me realize that sometimes it might not have been my fault that I felt that way. And that's really cool. So I'm really glad that you guys were here for that revelation. My psychologist comes in. That'll be $80 with tax. So the final thing I'm going to talk to you guys about today is my going away presents. So what I am planning on giving the kids when it's my final 2 days of being at placement. I have got also my mentor teacher's presents that I'm going to give to her. Okay, I've decided to put a photo on my Instagram with my nails to show what I got my mentor teacher, just in case anyone is looking for ideas on what to do. So my mentor teacher, we have two sort of running jokes, which I'm sure she tells everyone, but it's the two things that I think about whenever I'm like talking to her. One of them is whenever we have vent, by the end of it, we say, but it's fine, everything's fine, it's so fine, it's so fine. And then we keep going. So I found earrings. I got both of these on Etsy, by the way. I found earrings that say, it's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. And she loves, she's got like, she's a Disney nut, like me. So she's got a lot of Disney earrings and things like that. So I know she likes to wear like not necessarily, that sounds really bad, like not trendy earrings. I don't wear trendy earrings, but like, do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. Anyway, she wears teacher earrings. You know what I was saying about teacher nails? There's such thing as teacher earrings. She wears teacher earrings. So that's why I got them for her. And then I've got printed on a mug Jennifer Lawrence on the Hot Ones episode going, but what do you mean? Because anytime something doesn't make sense in the curriculum, in a student's answer, in an announcement, we just look at each other and we're like, but what do you mean? But what do you mean? But what do you mean? So I've popped it on a mug. She wanted it in a stamp. She literally said to me, if you can get a stamp that says, but what do you mean? I will love you forever. I couldn't get it in a stamp, so I got it in a mug. Hopefully she can drink her coffee and say, as she says in the morning, get caffeinated, with Jennifer Lawrence freaking out on Hot Ones. So in terms of my students, I thought about the goodie bag idea, but I'm also really bad with my time management. So I thought I'm not going to set myself up for failure. So I'm just going to do a massive Coles snack run in the second last week of the holidays and just get a bunch of snacks, like way too many, and then put them out for the kids and have that last for 2 days and just like ration it almost. Not ration it, but like put certain bags out for certain kids, and then once they run out, you can replace them and things like that. And I think that's going to work well with the senior kids because they're aware of their allergies and things like that, and I will make sure when I say in the class, any allergies, blah, 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 should be all good. I'm also, and I am going to put this in the same Instagram post, just in case you forgot, at Stranger in the Staff Room. I have bought some fabric from Spotlight, and thank God my mum was a dancer for 18 years. She knows how to sew, and I'm going to get her to help me cut out some part of that fabric and turn it into a hair bow, just like one that I can tie up myself. And I'm going to bring colourful permanent markers in on the last 2 days, and I'm going to get the kids to write their names on it. So then when I come back next year, I can wear it in my hair, and, you know, the kids will know that they've had an impact on me as much as I hopefully had an impact on them. And I got that idea from Pinterest, and I think it's the sweetest thing ever, especially for teenagers. Like, it's so different in terms of showing your gratitude towards the kids from primary school to high school, because you're teetering that line between that's lame and that's awesome. So because this is for me, I think they might think it's an awesome thing, but I will let you know. But I'm beyond excited to do it. Leave a comment on what you've done for, you know, gifts and things for students and, you know, people in the teaching industry. I really like how creative people get. Yeah, I'd love to know. It's going to be amazing. I think that wraps up episode 2. I have yapped for quite a while, and I'm going to try and keep the timing the same as episode 1 because a lot of you said it was a good amount of time. So leave a review on Spotify, follow me on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure the podcast is now on Amazon Music if you use that. So that's awesome. I'm trying to get the podcast on different platforms as we speak, so bear with me. Big things coming. Until then, this is Zoe Zammit, a first-time teacher sharing lifelong stories. Over and out.
Teaching vibes were in the air, sharing knowledge everywhere, guiding young minds with such care. This is what we do.